Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Healing Honey. If it's your first time here, then welcome. I wanted to do this video for a while. I'm going to be sharing how you can tap in to your feminine energy by learning about goddesses, ancient goddesses, goddesses of love, of healing, fertility, all of these beautiful things, wisdom, magic, the moon, everything tied to our feminine energy. We've only been taught, most of us, about the masculine version of God, right? Like God the Father and Jesus, obviously a male. But when we look into ancient cultures, we just have a different perspective, and there have been women who have been deified and seen as like a goddess, right? And feminine energy also matters. It's also prevalent. It's also natural and integral. It's part of life. Just like there's male, there's also female. And so one is not superior to the other. It's like both. And so I grew up Catholic and Christian, but as I had a spiritual awakening, I freed my mind and I was curious. I tuned in and I wanted to know, as a female, my power and my energy, how to tap into my feminine energy, which is powerful. It's not just passive, but it's also gentle, it's soft, it's versatile, and we all have masculine energy and feminine. And so this is what I want to share with you. But you know, warning, trigger warning, like if you are super religious and things like that, then I might share some things that might rub you the wrong way, possibly if it's the first time you're hearing them, and that is completely natural. Even for me, like when you're learning new information, it can feel uncomfortable just because you never knew it before. You don't know if you want to believe it or not, and all of that's totally fine. But if you're on a channel, if you're on my channel and if you're on a video like this, then you're just curious. So let's talk about these goddesses and what they stood for and what we can learn from them to tap into our own divine feminine energy. I want to remind us that each of us have consciousness within us, okay? What we call God or the universe, higher intelligence, what is making me speak right now, what's running through your veins, what's making the blood flow. I'm all for science and rational and logic, that's the masculine energy, right? But also like spiritual, magical, mystical, things that you can't prove. We don't need to. It's so funny because life just has this air of mystery, and that's okay. I see science as us trying our best to discover, solve these mysteries and come to try to understand them and overstand them, figure it out, figure life out, which in a way is what we're all doing, right? But once there's a new discovery made, we see that there's so much like divine order and purpose behind it, so intricate, detailed, divine, just completely perfect. And so if you're anything like me, then I'd rather surrender and flow with life more so than try to figure it out all the time, right? But anyways, so consciousness is within all of us. And so in essence, you are a god or you are a goddess. You're a piece of the whole. All of us are, right? And so when you think about a teacher, a spiritual teacher like Jesus, where he was seen as the son of God, but he was also saying what I'm telling you, that God is within me. So yeah, I'm a son of God, or you're a daughter of God, of the Most High. You're able to tap into your God nature, your higher nature, but it's a choice to do that. Okay, well, we learn what the light is or what source is like, and we can embody that. We can choose to, or we can embody like our lower nature. It's a choice. And so you're able to tap into your goddess energy. You're able to tap into your God nature. And so that's why it's cool to learn about goddesses, those women who, whether it was a myth or they were here, what they embodied, what they taught, what they stood for, their energy, how they lived, we can learn from it. Okay, so if you're a woman, I hope this video empowers you and inspires you. The first goddess that I want to share with you that I've been learning about is Isis. and this is an ancient Egyptian goddess, also known as Aset. She's very fascinating to learn about. I'm gonna call her Isis in this video, but the story of Isis, when you learn about it, it might blow your mind because it's a very, well, I'm gonna keep it real. It's the identical story to the Virgin Mary of what we know as the Virgin Mary before Jesus was here. So this story already existed in ancient Egypt. And so Isis was the wife of Osiris. And the story goes that they were reigning. They were the first rulers of Egypt, ancient Egypt. Osiris's brother Set was jealous of him and he murdered him. He cut his body into pieces and threw it into the Nile, scattered it across. And she's like a goddess of devotion in a way because she went and she wouldn't rest until she found all the pieces of her husband's body and put him back together. And he became like the ruler of the underworld, and she became like a goddess of love, of devotion. She's depicted with her son Horus. They conceived Horus, like her only son, and there's like a picture, not a picture, but like there's a depiction of Horus sitting on her lap. She's like feeding him. So like a goddess, like a fertility goddess, goddess of healing, because she put her husband back together, restored him, like wouldn't rest. And that's why I think of her like of devotion. So she can teach us as women about unconditional love and that strength. Like think about when you are truly devoted to somebody, you will not rest until you are with them or you just love them 1,000%. You're devoted, you're down, you're a real one. You're not going anywhere because they're your match and they're your person. You feel compelled. So that deep unconditional love, devoted. So what can we learn like from this, right? Because she could have just like got with the crazy new ruler, whatever, he was trying to be the ruler, right? Like Set. She could have just changed up or whatever, but no. And so she restored her husband's body. They conceived Horus. She magically conceived a son, right? So we know that with the Virgin Mary, she conceived without sex, right? And so that story was already around from ancient Egypt. So she conceived magically Horus. Horus, Jesus, what's going on here? And so it's just very interesting. Isis is known as the goddess of healing, the goddess of magic. Okay, so the second one that I want to share with you guys, Venus. She's an ancient Italian goddess. She's the goddess of love, beauty, fertility, power, sex, victory. She is likened to Aphrodite, like that's the Greek version, but Venus is the Italian. And so the goddess of beauty, sexual passion, like she was known to be able to seduce gods or mortals. She is Cupid's mom. Okay, so it's crazy. And when you learn about Venus, she just embraced her feminine energy 100%. She was free, sexually, known to have lovers that are male and female, just open and passionate, extremely attractive, right? A goddess of beauty. So what can we learn from Venus to embrace our raw feminine and our sexual power? Because a lot of times, like, it can be stifled in the patriarchy. And so a goddess like Venus taps you into your feminine energy, the raw, organic you, your sexual power, your beauty, embracing it, a bit of your wild side and your passion, sexual desire. She's associated with the rose. And so it's really cool. One of my favorite makeup brands, Lime Crime, they have the Venus palette. So beautiful. It's just about her being a muse and her being just the epitome of beauty. I even was inspired. On my Etsy store right now, I have a shirt because there's a famous painting. It's right here. There's a famous painting of Venus. Like, she was born of the ocean. The ocean was her mom. The birth of Venus. This is a super famous portrait. And so she's a goddess, right? And we can learn from her. Have you heard of Venus, the goddess of Venus? Or are you more familiar with Aphrodite? So she's part of Roman mythology. It's really cool too because, see, the concept of a goddess is not secluded to one culture. It's not just for one part of the world. Before what we know as, Christianity in the modern day world, there was these concepts, and just as much as a man can be seen as God, so can woman, but it more so again, because I do believe in one source, one God, but it's about them embracing their tapping into their own divine power and embodying that and being known for a certain aspect of life and teaching us in a way so we can emulate it, but that we can embody it. Okay, so there's a difference between praying to like a saint or a goddess or like even Jesus. We can for assistance, for guidance, for strength in the spiritual realm, but at the same time, tapping into your own power, which is within. When humans on earth tap into their own power, later on, sometimes they're deified. They're seen as a god, but it was because they tapped into their own. This power is within you too. And this is what you're not going to learn in church. And so the word Venus in Latin translates to love. Okay, so Venus is the goddess of love, beauty, sex. Super cool. The dark feminine. Like, if you learn about Venus, you'll see like she was doing stuff with some different lovers. She was out there, right? And so it doesn't mean that you have to be promiscuous. It means that she was an embodiment of the wild feminine, and we all have a light and darkness within us. So it's like, what are you going to choose for your life? And it's your choice. But just sexual passion, like, it's natural, and we don't have to be ashamed. Religion has taught us to suppress our natural desires when really that's how life is birthed, right? We have to feel that. It's okay to feel pleasure. It's okay to feel passion. It's okay to feel sexy and be sexy, like, especially as a woman. And it's sacred. And so it's not about exploiting it. It's about just not feeling shame and using it intentionally. The last goddess that I want to share with you is Maat. And she is an ancient Egyptian goddess, and definitely my favorite on the list today. She's the goddess of justice and balance and divine order. Maat, there's the 42 laws of Maat. And you guys, I promise you, you know how I don't consider myself religious anymore, but that's because there's common sense and there's inner wisdom. And so like the 42 laws of Maat, I'll read them to you, are a perfect depiction of like how we can live our life with integrity and tap into morality, justice, without having to like be restricted by certain rules. Like, it's a choice. There's freedom, but there's like, for example, if you give a baby who maybe doesn't know right from wrong yet, let's say they go to you put something on the table and you say, don't touch that. And the baby like crawls over there and they take it. They're going to try to hide it from you. Like, we internally know right from wrong if we choose to tap in and be real with ourselves. So we all have like this God within us, right? So we kind of know right from wrong. So the laws of Maat, like, she is explaining guidelines for life. Maat literally translates to that which is straight, right? And so it's about truth and balance, like integrity, justice. And she is the daughter of Ra. Ra is the original son of God, also known as Atum, Atum, right? And so again, bringing it back to like modern day religion, it's kind of like based off of ancient cultures, right? So be careful, or just maybe look into these things if you want to. There's nothing wrong with learning, right? And so ancient culture. So Maat is also the wife of Thoth, which is like the god of wisdom. And if you look into this stuff, it's so cool. Like the things that they left behind, the wisdom and the knowledge is very much relevant to this day. So she's associated really with morality and justice. There's the story of her of like, when somebody dies, did you live by her laws? Like, how did you live your life? So in the afterlife, meeting her and having your heart weighed against the feather of Maat. And is your heart heavy? Like, how did you live your life with your free will? What choices did you make? And if your heart is heavier than the feather, like, life is over for you. You don't get to pass into the afterlife and be granted eternal life. So it's interesting that all these different stories and mysteries of life, right? 42 laws of Maat. Let me read them to you. I honor virtue. I benefit with gratitude. I am peaceful. I respect the property of others. I affirm that all life is sacred. I give offerings that are genuine. I live in truth. I consume only my fair share. I offer words of good intent. I relate in peace. I honor animals with reverence. I can be trusted. I care for the earth. I keep my own counsel. I speak positively of others. I am trustful in my relationships. I hold purity in high esteem. I spread joy. I do the best I can. I communicate with compassion. I listen to opposing opinions. I create harmony. I invoke laughter. I am open to love in various forms. I am forgiving. I am kind. I act respectfully of others. I am accepting. I follow my inner guidance. I converse with awareness. I do good. I give blessings. I keep the waters pure. I speak with good intent. I praise the goddess and the god. I am humble. I achieve with integrity. I advance through my own abilities. I embrace the all. So that's everything I want to share with you guys today. These are 3 goddesses that we can tap into: Venus, Isis, Maat, that are going to teach us like how to tap into our feminine energy, but also just how to navigate life and the freedom, also just empowerment. You know, as women, we are just sacred and have so much purpose in life. And so let me know your thoughts on today's video. I want to know who's here. Drop me a comment. Drop me a purple heart if you have gotten to this part of the video. I'm sending you so much love, so much power, so much healing on your journey. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.